guys, welcome back. I was just browsing Facebook and someone asked a question about how to move Prismacolor pigment around with a white pencil because they had watched videos where people were doing this and they were not able to achieve the same effect, so they were asking for help. And I kind of answered and gave some advice for how to experiment, and then I just did a quick little 5-minute video on my own experimenting and shared that with her. And I just wanted to share with you what I found in my experimentation. So I used 3 different colors, and I used the white Prismacolor pencil, and then I also compared 2 blenders. So that was the Prismacolor blender and the Derwent blender. And then one other thing that I did not experiment with but will in this video is the blending solution pen colorless blender marker from Prismacolor. I am not a blender pencil user. I just blend with the pencils that I'm using. I tend to burnish and blend with those instead of using a blender pencil. So this was kind of new to me. And so I want to show what I found. So first, I was curious how much I could move the pigment with the different blending methods. Also, I'm going to do this with less pigment on the page to compare. We'll do some boxes. And maybe some boxes with less pigment. Okay, so I'm going to do this with this color, which is violet blue. I'm also going to do it with crimson red. Now, I already know that the ones with the light pigment isn't going to move as much, so I'm going to forego the light pigment just for fitting this onto the screen mostly. And then I'm going to do a light color. Okay, so first I'm going to pull my white, and I'm just going to see how much I can move the pigment by dragging it down. Okay, so that's just with a little bit of pigment down on the page. I can kind of move it around a little bit. Okay, I'm going to try to fill in this box that doesn't have so much pigment on it. And I'm able to spread it around and fill in a little bit. Whoops! Prismas. So I am able to move that pigment around a little bit. This is specifically what this person was asking about, is how to fill in a space using the white blender and pull in that color. Now let's try it on one with more pigment. I can definitely, if there's more pigment on the page, it just makes sense. You can drag more of it around. Okay, so you can see a huge difference between how much I was able to move there and how much I was able to move there. And then filling this in, there's just more pigment to move. So filling it in gives you a darker color. Okay, it's the same with the red. I'll clean off my pencil here so we don't get blue contaminants. I should have done these further apart because I'm going to be able to drag that more. Okay, I'm able to drag the red just fine and fill that in as well. Now the lighter color with the white pencil doesn't move as much. Or maybe on black paper it would look more like it is, I don't know, but at least on the white or cream paper it doesn't look like it's moving at all. Okay, you get kind of a blue little haze there, but definitely more pigment and darker pigment is going to blend more. Okay, so that was the white Prismacolor. Let's do the Prisma Blender pencil now. Just dragging this downward. It doesn't really move at all. Maybe just a tiny smidge. I also had a harder time with the blender pencil on even having more pigment. It's not as knocked back. The pigment is definitely still saturated. The white pencil desaturates the color a little bit. So you're not desaturating the color, but I don't think that the blender pencil actually moves it as well as a regular Prismacolor pencil does. Let's do this light one here. Yeah, it's just not moving the pigment hardly at all. Yeah, I do not like, I'm gonna be honest, I do not like this blender pencil. I don't think it does what you would think it should be doing. It definitely behaves differently than the white, or just a general light colored Prisma pencil. Okay, and then again with that's just not even budging. I can't even move that a little bit. Nope. I mean, almost nothing. Okay, the Derwent blender pencil. My point's too long. Okay. This actually moves quite a bit of the Prisma pigment. Whoops, sorry. It definitely, of the three pencils, is moving the pigment the most. However, you can see I'm kind of, yeah, it is moving it the most. I'm kind of scratching the color off of the page though, but that's just because I'm dragging all that color downward. You can see that it is more saturated than the white Prismacolor pencil. I will say though, I do not like this blender only because, well, I don't like the way that the barrel feels. It's like unvarnished, uncovered wood, and it kind of skeeves me out. I don't like the feeling of it, and the blender pencil itself is super scratchy, and I just, ugh, it's like nails on chalkboard to me. I do not like using it. Oh, I was gonna try the Derwent Burnishing Pencil. Let me pull that out. I'll do the red with the Burnishing Pencil. Because the blender pencil definitely does not give a finished, burnished feel like the white Prismacolor does. So I'm curious to know what the Burnishing Pencil does. This is the burnisher, which is different than the blender. I don't really use these, so I don't even know why I have them, but here we go. Okay, so it does move pigment, the burnisher. And it doesn't feel as scratchy, and the barrel is covered, so it's not the naked wood. So it has that going for it. It doesn't seem to move the pigment as much, but it feels much nicer, and it doesn't desaturate the color. It's not as scratchy. Yeah, honestly, for me, I'd probably use this over the blender. But it does burnish, so it's the last thing you're gonna have to do. But honestly, it's the last thing I would do anyway, no matter what I was using. I'll go back to the blender for this light colored one. Yeah, so far this blender moves the light colored one the most. Oh, I don't like how it leaves the paper though. It's just, it feels scratchy and it leaves the paper scratchy. But it moves the pigment. Oh, I don't like that. So this, I did not use. There's the fine end, and there's also the broad end, so fine and broad. Let's start with fine. I'm just gonna go on this side, drag it down. Okay, that's moving it a lot. You can see it saturates the color. Let's see what the broad looks like. Okay. Let's try this. Oh yeah, that moves it quite a bit. That's definitely the most solid, less pencil-y looking. Okay, if I were to fill this in here, There's definitely a smell, but the smell doesn't bother me. Just have a window open or a fan going. Okay, this is, let me clean this off before I go into this box with less pigment. Yeah, it saturates it and moves it around better. Okay, clean it off. See the red? Oops, still got blue on it. I think it's harder to clean. Maybe a rag or something. Yep, so that spreads. Let's try the light color. No, it doesn't really move either. Okay, the paper is wet. That's what the gray is. Let's turn the paper over and see if it's bled through at all because of it. Yes. Okay, so you do not want to use this if you're worried about bleed through because it bleeds through a lot. I would say that of these, this one was the burnisher. My favorite method is just the white Prismacolor. That's how I would blend. I wouldn't bother with blender pencils. I am curious, I don't have the Caran d'Ache. I am curious to know how that one works. I might like that one, I'm not sure. But I've never used a Caran d'Ache pencils before. So there you go, of what I have, which is the Prismacolor blender, the Prismacolor white, the Derwent blender, and the Prismacolor colorless blender pen. My favorite is just the Prismacolor white pencil. It desaturates the color a little bit, but you can always, if you're afraid of the desaturation, instead of using white, you can just use, if you're like trying to blend this dark blue, you could blend it with really light blue instead of the white, and that would not desaturate it as much. So that's it. I hope you liked this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you did. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and have a great day.